Welcome to the BriteVibe podcast. At BriteVibe, we believe everyone deserves to be happy. But in today's world, everywhere you turn, there is division and negativity. At BriteVibe, we have created a global movement to bring 8 million people together who are inspired to live bright, live bold, and share bright vibes. Alone, it can be hard to change, but together we can change the world. Welcome to the BriteVibe podcast. So, Mr. Aaron Walker, welcome to the BriteVibe podcast. So happy to have you on today.
Hey, Matt, man, I'm excited to be here. What about your Chiefs winning last night? That was pretty solid. Were you worried at the end?
I did watch the game. I was actually surprised. It was like they did a good job. They did. Wow.
My wife's a big Chiefs fan. I took the Chargers, and we watched football Saturday, Sunday, Monday night, and Thursday night. And her team, the Chiefs, played last night. I think she's a Mahomes fan, and I took the Chargers, and I lost the last 34 seconds of the game. So
it was crazy. I didn't actually think that. Yeah, I didn't think that they were going to pull it out. And then it was like, wow, they just marched down and did what they do. That's how they win.
It was fun. You know, that's why Mahomes gets a $500 million contract. Right?
Right. Exactly.
I know.
Exactly.
I know. Thank you for having me as your guest.
Sure. Well, so you're the founder of a organization called View from the Top, and you've also written a book by that same title. That's correct. View from the Top, at least. Yeah. Okay. So View from the Top, what is that organization?
Yeah, we're a personal, professional, and spiritual development company. So we help entrepreneurs all over the world. I think we're in 5 or 6 different countries now. Get together in a mastermind setting. For those that don't know what that is, it's a peer advisory group, board of directors, people that are unbiased that meet with one another, 10 people in a group via Zoom. Twice a year we get together in person, but it's people that can help you make decisions in every area of your life. People ask me, why is it called View from the Top? Because nobody wants a view from the bottom. And so we help you achieve your own view from the top.
You're supposed to have some type of biblical tie-in with View from the Top, aren't you?
Like, Proverbs 20.
Don't put your light in the bushel basket type thing.
I know it is. Don't let your light shine. Don't put a bushel over it, right? Proverbs 27:17 says, as one man sharpens another, as iron sharpens iron. So that's the reason our masterminds are called Iron Sharpens Iron.
Well, how did you come to this? Because you know, in your bio, and from what I briefly understand, you're a small business owner. So, what kind of business are you in?
Yeah, let me take you way back for context. Is that okay?
Please do. Yeah, please do.
Yeah, so I'm a native Nashvilleian, Nashville, Tennessee. Been here 62 years now, coming up pretty soon, and started my first business when I was 18. And God really blessed it. And when I was 27, I sold out to a Fortune 500. Oh, and I was done. I was like, well, that was an easy 9 years. You know, you go from broker than a convict to being able to retire at age 27. I said, hey, welcome to America. I mean, this is pretty cool. And then I gained 50 pounds. I was getting in the bed in the middle of the day. And my wife came and said, hey, this is not working out. Like, this is not what I signed up for. So I went back and bought the company that I started with when I was a child. And we grew it 4 times the size it was over the next 10 years. And had a very unfortunate circumstance that happened in 2001. I ran over and killed a pedestrian. Oh. That was crossing the street to catch a bus here in Nashville, and he just didn't see me. And so that was a real paradigm shift for me, Matt, to be honest with you. And it really set me on a new trajectory. And we can talk about that more later in the show if you'd like. But yeah, I took 5 years off. I didn't do anything for about 5 years. We traveled around the world, and I built a new house and kind of took it easy. And then Robin said, hey, you're getting fat and lazy again. It's time that you go back to work. So we got involved with a construction company that builds high-end construction, high-end residence, small commercial properties here in Nashville. And then 12 years ago, when I turned 50, I retired for the 3rd and final time. My wife said I've retired more than the law allows, but I retired again. And a guy that I had been in a mastermind group with for decades, you know, he said, hey, man, you ought to consider coaching. You've owned, 14 businesses. You've been married over 40 years. I think you could help other people accomplish their goals. And so I prayed about that and decided to do it and started being interviewed on podcasts like yours. And I turned around and looked 9 years later, we have 150 men. We're in 5 different countries around the world, and we're helping transform lives. And so that's how I got into this.
Wow. You said you had 150. Clarify that for me one more time. 150.
We have 150 members.
Oh,
They're
gotcha.
all men.
Yep.
And so they meet in groups of 10. So we have 15 mastermind groups
Gotcha.
that meet every week, and we're helping them transform their life.
And so just for myself, for my own curiosity, when you say mastermind, I'm going to kind of a two-part question, because I heard you say weekly. So what's the format? What do they meet about?
Good question. Great question.
And then the week, is that weekly? So I guess just
I'll give you the lowdown.
Thanks. Appreciate that. All right.
So here's the thing. So isolation is the enemy of excellence. I think we would all agree that making decisions on an island by yourself is not really a good thing to do. So think of it as a peer advisory group, kind of like a board of directors. And so, Matt, in your business, if you were to have a question today, and I'm sure you've got trusted advisors, but who knows you intimately? Like, who knows your wife, your kids, knows about your business acumen, knows your blind spots, your kryptonite, your superpowers. They know your propensity in business. They know your financial data and your backstory. Like, who could you go to and say, hey, I've got this major decision I want to make, that had access to all that data? And most people don't. Most people are like, hey, I got a buddy or two that we went to college together. But see, here's the thing. You're not doing life with them every single week. And you often see them every 3 or 4 months, maybe twice a year. Right. Now you're going to go to them with this major decision, and you're going to go, hey, Billy, Bobby, whoever, like, I need to make this decision. Well, now they've got to have context. They got to know where well, see, that's what we eliminate, because when you're meeting virtually every single week, and I have the answers to all those questions. I know what you're involved in. I know your struggles, your trials, your superpowers, your propensity. I know your finances. I know what it is that you're trying to accomplish every single week that we're discussing these topics, personally, professionally, spiritually, right? There's 5 key areas of our life. We have personal, relational, spiritual, physical, and financial. Everything fits into one of those buckets. And so we create a framework around that called Come As You Will Be. And it's where you aspirationally pick 5 goals, 1 in each of those areas, and you're working on the priority in your life in that area. And people have context every single week. They know the task that you're getting to accomplish in order to reach your goal. And so you're doing life with these guys every single week. Then twice a year, you get together in person. And so now for 2.5 days here in Nashville, you're meeting with this group and the larger group, and you get to know each other in a really intimate setting. Now, at any given time, you can call, you can text message, you can email, you can jump on a Zoom call. You have these people helping you make these decisions. Now, Matt, we all went through this, so this is not a trick question. We went through COVID, right? We went through the pandemic. I don't know about you, but that was a pretty scary time. Yeah, it was like, hey, not sure my business is going to make it. Right. Like, I was having to make decisions hourly to run our organization. Right. Yep. Totally. Who did you call? Right. Who did you reach out to? It's like, I don't know. Like, let's get together and figure this thing out. So that's all the mastermind groups are. They're just a board of directors, trusted advisors, people helping you make decisions that have all the data that can help you make an intelligent decision. And so I've been involved for 25 years in these groups, meeting every week for 25 years. I've been involved in a group. Weekly. That's a commitment. That is a good. So yeah, what's it's an hour. It's the most. Oh, it's an hour. Okay. I was going to ask you what that format was. Yeah, it's an hour format. So we get on and we do what's called man in the middle. So, 3 months in advance when you're going to be man in the middle. So today it's all about Matt, right? And so you come and say, hey, my wife and I've been married 20 years. Like, it's okay, but we're up against this struggle. Or I've got this 16-year-old daughter that's promiscuous, or I've got a son that's on drugs and I don't know what to do, or having this cash flow issue that, like, my business is good, but we have receivables and I don't know how. Like, it's always something, right? You live longer. I'm 62. Like, I've lived a lot of life. There's always something, and you need people around you that can give you insight and feedback. Gotcha. And so it rotates. So if you've got 10 people, then you're every week, every somebody else. Yeah. 2 people. There's 2 people, man in the middle every week. Oh, gotcha. So every 5 weeks, you're man in the middle again. So you don't. Gotcha. Now listen, if there's something important You're like, hey, this is really serious. Like, okay, we set everything else aside and we deal with your situation. But see, these guys know each other so intimately, they're talking all through the week. I mean, they're constantly on the phone, they're on Zoom, they're on a text thread, they're on Boxer, you know, they're on Slack, they're constantly getting feedback. And so now you've got a team. Let me tell you, let's go back even a little further. So back in 2001, when I had this automobile accident, I had some guys around me, but a buddy of mine that got me to advertise on his radio show here in Nashville, we'd been doing business for 5 or 6 years together. He said he was starting a mastermind here in Nashville. And he said, I'd love for you to join. And I said, I don't even know what a mastermind group is. You know, this is 21 years ago. I don't even know what a mastermind group is. And he said, well, just come to my office and I'm going to introduce you to the other guys. And I think you'll enjoy it, but we really get down to business. Like we really are doing life together. So I went to Robin, my wife. Robin and I've been married to be 43 years in June. And I went to Robin and I said, hey, you know this guy pretty good. Actually, it was Dave Ramsey. Dave and I,
okay.
Dave and I have been friends since the early 90s. I was his second sponsor and I sponsored his show for 21 years.
Oh, wow.
So Dave and I have been best friends since the early 90s. And he gave me advertising to train. He was just starting his radio show. So anyway, and I said, Robin, I don't really want to go. She said, why? I said, you know how hardcore Dave is. He's going to come to my face. He's going to find out I've got real estate debt. And so anyway, she said, just go and check it out. So I went. Dan Miller was there, Ken Abraham, Jeff Mosley. Some of those guys may or may not ring a bell with you. But anyway, they started sharing intimately about their life. And this went on week after week. And then there was a cash flow problem and a spouse problem, relationship problem, a kid problem. And I was like, I came home one day laughing. And she said, what are you laughing about? I said, they're more screwed up than I am. I said, I had no idea that they were going to be this vulnerable and transparent. And so, you know, to be honest with you, Matt, I fell in love with that process after that because I could be real. I could let the veil down and I could be real. And then these guys have helped me build my business now for over 2 decades.
That's amazing. You know, I have been I joined what we call a forum group. So I'm a member of YPO, Young Presidents Organization, worldwide organization. And they do something similar. I was curious about the format because in our format, we meet once a month, but we meet for like 3.5 hours. We usually do lunch and then we meet the rest of the afternoon. But it sounds like a similar deal. Our rhythm's just monthly instead of weekly. And so that's kind of it. I was really curious about the nuances of that weekly. Obviously it's more engaged, right?
Think about a month ago. A month ago, right? And you think about what all's transpired in the past 30 days. But see, by the time you get to that meeting, that's a great organization, by the way. I'm not knocking
it is. The
cadence of it needs to be more often because we're such a fast-paced society now. There's so many things happen in 30 days. Like I need weekly or even daily, oftentimes feedback, and making decisions. And so that's why we chose. Most people say that when they first get in, they're like, man, that's a lot. But then when they get in, we've even got groups meeting twice a week and not once a week because these guys are doing very well in business and they need insight and input and they need it at a very fast clip, you know, at a greater cadence. And so, yeah, everything's different. It's not for everybody. We're about getting it done. We're about moving the needle. And I don't want to wait a month. I'm like, hey, I need you now. Like this opportunity is before me and I got to make a decision. Then also, if you're struggling, let's just use you for an example. This is not true. Totally making this up. Let's just say you're struggling with your relationship right now with your spouse. How long you been married?
I've been married 8.5 years, eight and a half years.
Okay. So I've been married 43 years and there's going to be a lot of trials you and your wife are going to have, right? I don't care how good your relationship is. You're going to have trials. You have children?
Yep. Two. Yep.
Okay.
2 children.
So they're going to give you some gray hairs, right? And so you're like, I don't know. I never had a 10-year-old. I never had a 15-year-old. I never had a kid starting college. And you and your wife can sit there and try to figure it out, but you need people around you all the time. Like if you're having a relationship issue or problems with one of your children, like you don't want to wait a month. Like I need to get to the bottom of this today or tomorrow, or at least by Friday. And so you've got these people around you all the time helping you. It doesn't matter personally, right? We all got challenges. Professionally, we got challenges. I don't know if you're a person of faith or not, but spiritual challenges, we've got those ahead of us. And so we have found that that weekly cadence really scratches the itch.
But you got 2 presenters on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And so what's that format? If you tighten it up for me, what's that 30? It seems like a fast pace.
Okay,
I guess.
let's just, it is. But if you look at it on the other hand, you've got interactions all during the week,
right?
All the time.
Gotcha.
And you're on these different threads communicating. And then you can always pick up the phone and call. So it's not like you just got this 20 or 30 minutes. I mean, you're communicating all through the week as well. So this is just all hands on deck. Everybody's around you and you've got this situation. I don't know what it is, but whatever situation, you're getting constant feedback. And so it just focuses on you for that period of time.
Let's take an actual example then. So anything you want to pull from, obviously probably your own experience, but anything you pull from your own experience, kind of what was walk us through, and it could be something simple. It doesn't have to be,
let's use the decades ago, like Robin and I were in a pretty dark place going through this horrible accident.
Right.
So I kill a pedestrian.
Right.
And so I get on the call, or I'm actually meeting in person with the group, but I'm like, hey, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know if I need to go see a psychiatrist. I don't know if I need a psychologist. I don't know if I need a counselor. I don't know if I need to meet weekly, daily. I don't know if I need to go talk to my pastor. Like, how much do I bring Robin in on this? Do I do this alone? Do we do it as a couple? Do I get friends to come along with me to undergird me and nurture me and show empathy and compassion? Do we talk about this at night without the counselor? Like, I never run over anybody.
Right.
So I don't know. Like, how am I going to deal with this? Now I've got this sense of guilt. I'm like, it wasn't my fault. Thank God. It wasn't anything I did. He didn't see me. He was 77 years old. He just ran out in front of me. Right. So like now do I call the family? Like, do I reach out? Do I call my attorney?
Right.
I don't know. So what I'm saying is we all have situations that come up in our business that way. Some of us make bad choices relationally. And now all of a sudden you caught yourself in a bad position relationally. You've made a bad choice and you go, okay, do I confess this? Do I like go to my wife? Do I get people together? Any host of scenarios. And now you've got 10 trusted advisors around you going, hey, I've been there. This is what happened for me. And this is my best advice, because see, we only have one filter. We only have one life experience. Matt, I know you're a sharp guy, but you can only give advice based on your filters.
Sure, of course. Yep.
But now we have a general consensus of the multitudes. You got 10 guys and 8 of them go, no, you can't do that. And here's why. It's like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, I didn't even know to ask that question. Right. And then you got 8 of the 10 guys go, no, I think you need to do this. And here's why. Well, if I had made the decision alone, it may have been I'll give you an example. A guy, one of our members sold his business recently for $7 million. And so he came to the group, he built this company for 18 years and he's got a partner in this business. And he said, this company, this private equity firm's buying us. And he said, there's a problem between me and my partner. And I'm going to go ahead now and get that shored up, because after the sale, we're going to have to work together. And I went, wait a minute, what is the problem? And he told me what the problem was. I said, it doesn't affect the value of the business. And he said, no. I said, you want to close the deal and then you want to go address the problem? He goes, no, I want to get it solved now. I said, as soon as the private equity firm learns that there's problems between the partners, they're going to back out of the deal. Well, I've sold 14 companies. Right. He's never sold a company. He goes, right, that didn't even dawn on me. And I'm like, you're fixing to queer the whole deal. Okay. Well, what I'm saying is he'd never sold a company.
Right. Of course. How did he know? Yeah. Right. How would he know?
We're all dealing with situations like that.
Blind spots.
Right. Yeah. So you're going to get a divorce. Like, what do we do now with the kids? Like, I never had a divorce before. So what do we do now? or you get addicted to pornography or alcohol. It's like, well, I've never been addicted before to alcohol. Like, I don't know what to do or who to call. Or now you got a cash flow problem in your business. You're like, hey, do I go get a loan? Do I get a line of credit? Do I get a HELOC? Do I sell the receivables to a company? Do I reach out to the company and say, hey, I'll give you a discount? Like, I've never been in this position.
Right.
And you've got other business owners in there saying, oh, let me introduce you to a guy that helped us work through that. I got a 16-year-old, he's on drugs. Like, I don't even know what to do. Do I take him out of school? Do I put him in one of these recovery programs? Do I keep him at home and homeschooling? I don't know. I've never been there. Two people go, oh, wait a minute. Hey, my daughter's gone through that. Here's who, see, it just goes on and on and on, regardless of the situation. You're going to be confronted, Matt, you're going to be confronted with a situation in the next 30, 45 days you've never dealt with.
Fair enough. Yeah. Right.
You got
for almost every day I'm confronted with a situation, right? I've never dealt with.
That's my whole
right?
point.
Yeah.
And when we don't have these people around us that can walk with us, here's the other thing. You want to celebrate occasionally. You've had measure of success in your company, right?
Right.
Who are you going to celebrate with? You can't call your buddies because they're going to think you're bragging. But somebody that's been walking this journey that's helped you is there to celebrate with you, right? Okay, now what do? Do I invest the money in this or this or this? Do I pay the taxes? Do I do a 1031 exchange? Like, you're like, I don't even know what a 1031 exchange is. Well, sell that building for $1 million and pay capital gains. You're going to understand quickly what
1031 is. Yes,
okay,
exactly.
but what I'm saying is people don't know.
Right.
Or there's all kind of tax deferral opportunities. A buddy of mine just bought a condo for $1.7 million. He took a $700,000 accelerated depreciation his first year because his wife is an expert in real estate. She's got her 1,000 hours in, and so they can write that off. So he's got $700,000 he can accelerate. Well, I didn't know that was a thing. Well,
right.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So my point goes, when you've got these people around you all the time, it doesn't matter what you're going through. There's somebody within the organization that can see you're leveraging all those 10 relationships.
Right. Of course.
So now all their relationships are your relationships.
Right.
Okay. Now I've got tens of thousands of relationships I've leveraged. I've got people that's going to celebrate with me that's been on the journey. Right. Or I'm in trouble, or I need to borrow your courage because like right now I'm pretty scared because I got this situation. Come on, Big A, you got this. I've been here before. I've done this. And now like we got an army, we got people around us. We're not out there by ourselves. Once people get in and they grow accustomed to having these board of directors, people have been in our organization 7 and 8 years. And they're like, why would I get out? I'm always going to be confronted with a new thing.
Right. You were doing life together, I guess is the way I would think of it. You're doing life together instead of in isolation, to your point at the top of the show. And so your specific view from the top is men, Christian men, I'm assuming, right?
Well,
Christian.
I'm Christian by faith. You don't have to be a Christian to be in our organization, but because I talk a lot and openly about my faith, I am a Christian. I attract a lot of people that are Christian.
Got it.
But we've got people that are Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist,
really?
Agnostic, atheist,
okay.
Christian, Seventh-day Adventist. Yeah, we do. But probably 85-90% are Christian, just simply because I talk about it a lot.
Right. And so who is, for your specific, because I know there's different mastermind groups, different, 20 groups, but in your organization, kind of what is the qualifications or, kind
of the avatar?
Well, or just sheer qualification, avatar, but also the actual qualifications, right?
95% of our members are small business owners. And they'll do, a couple of $100,000 in top line revenue up to, we've had members that'll do $1,500,000 a week in top line revenue. So we've got it's very diverse,
right?
Mostly with kids, because I talk a lot about boundaries. I came home with a pocket full of money to a house full of strangers about 25 years ago. And my wife came up and she said, hey, we're living like a single mom, and I'm not a single mom, and you're out working. Thank you for providing all that you've done. You've done a great job, but I need you to help me with the girls, Girl Scouts, cheerleading, basketball. Now my daughters are 37 and 40. So this was a while back, but at that time I was like, man, if I'm not careful, I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm going to be rich and lonely one day.
Right. Right.
And so mostly people with kids, professionals. We do have some C-suite executives in our organization, but because I've owned 14 businesses, small business owner, I attract a lot of small business owners. And then people that really want to move the needle. And it's also people that align with our worldview, and it's people that align with our core values.
And so what is your worldview and your core values then?
Yeah, I'm ultra conservative, first of all. So Christian by faith, obviously. So that kind of aligns with that.
Feels like we just walked into, you just opened a door to a political conversation right there.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to go there. But our core values are pretty straightforward. My first core value is relationships matter most.
Oh, nice.
And it doesn't matter what widget you're selling or what service you provide. If the person doesn't matter most, you're not going to align with the way we teach. My second core value is make it amazing. Like I don't want to do it halfway. If we like, it doesn't mean it necessarily amazing to you, but it's as amazing as I know how initially until I learn a better way. Once I learn a better way, I'll make it more amazing. The third one is no excuses. I hate excuses. I don't want to hear excuses. It's like, hey, I don't want to hear that. You know, let's get it done. And then our fourth core value is everything is figure outable. We'll figure it out. It's actually a word. Look it up. But my team knows not to say we can't do that. It's like, yeah, we'll figure it out. I don't know what it's going to look like, but we'll figure it out. And then finally, my fifth core value is truth before opinion. And for me, truth is God's word. There's 66 books called the Bible, and I run it through that grid. And then I welcome your opinion, but it's going to be truth first and then opinion. So truth before opinion. So that's our core values. And people that align with that flourish. People that don't align with that don't stay long, because if relationships don't matter most, I can teach you how to make money, but if you cast the person aside as a result of it, you're not going to stay here long. If you want to halfway do it and it's not amazing, probably not going to stay here. If we hear excuses all the time about the way you didn't get it done and why you didn't get it done, you're not going to stay here long. And then like everything's figure outable. Like we'll figure it out. Right. And then not everybody's Christian by faith, but people are of faith, and they do have, here's the thing, Matt, we won't get into this today, but there's got to be some measure of truth. We've got to have something we base truth on. You know, I was at a conference recently, and there was a guy, and I had a really good conversation. He wasn't Christian. He was atheist. And I asked him, you know, I just said, hey, what do you base truth on? He goes, well, there's no absolute truths. And I said, okay. I said, just kind of anything goes. He goes, yeah, if that's what you want. And I'm a big guy. You've never met me in person, but I'm 6'4", weigh 230.
Well, you don't look like that on camera.
Yeah,
You're 6'4"?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I'm probably 6'3" now. I was 6'4" when I was young, but I'm probably shrunken it.
I like it.
But anyway, so he had his really nice sunglasses hooked on his shirt. And I just reached over and picked them up and stuck them on my shirt. And he looked at me, and I said, I want those. And he goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, anything goes. And he started laughing. And after that, we had an hour conversation that was amazing. I said, do you realize it takes more faith to believe what you do than it does to believe in a supreme being? He said, what do you mean? I said, all this just happened. One day it wasn't. One day it is. He said, I never thought of it in light of that. I said, okay. So we had a good discussion. It was fun. So what I'm saying is, though, is that I think that once we discover what truth is for us, right, we can have a dialogue like this and understand. Those are our core values, and that's what we stand for.
Very interesting. And so this is your mission, but then this is your full-time. I don't even know if I call it a vocation at this point, but this is kind of, this is your day in, day out. This is what you do. This
is it. You know, I only work 24 hours a week now. So I work Monday through Thursday, 10 to 4. Okay. And the rest of the time I spend with my grandkids, and, you know, I'm the visionary, right? I'm leading the organization because I'm the founder, and I continue to lead from afar, but I'm very involved in the business. We have a team that does all the administrative work. We have an integrator that handles all the systems and processes and does, the administrative task. The director of operations is my daughter, my oldest daughter. She's been with me since the beginning. And then we have other VAs that work for us that live in the Philippines that's been with us for years. And my executive assistant lives in the Philippines, and she's been with me about 6 years.
Really? And that's worked out. And I've actually
unbelievable.
Been thinking about and looking into that as well, just because I'm
it's unbelievable.
Becoming more virtual as the world has transitioned. I'm just like, I can find talented people anywhere if, but you found that that's very good for your organization.
Yeah, I've said unbelievable 3 times. It's unbelievable. it's their heart is amazing, and man, they are all about doing a great job. They are in the details. A lot of people said, well, I'll tell you, Romley is my assistant. And when I first hired her, I said, hey, my grammar is not really good, and she started laughing. She goes, oh, I can tell. And I said, I don't write that well. She edits everything I write. And so her education's unbelievable. They all got a huge education. They can use any technology. They can run circles around us using technology. They're very proficient. Their heart is amazing. Yeah, they're incredible.
And the time difference, you figured that out? Because that's one thing I heard about the Philippines.
I don't care when they work. If they get the work done, it doesn't matter to me.
But you can connect enough, or however you work, if that makes sense.
They normally work on Central Time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, they normally do that. My daughter's leading meetings with them. It's 12:30 in the morning for them tomorrow morning. Right now, it's 12,
so they kind of work
13 hours ahead, but they usually work on our schedule.
So they kind of work almost a night shift type, 8 to 8 or whatever. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I know that's a little sidebar, but it was just interesting because I've been looking into that. I keep thinking, is that the way I should go? Because the world's becoming a world, bringing everything kind of together. People are working together. It's kind of neat to be able to provide.
She does everything for me. She answers emails and she does my calendar, everything. I just send them a message. Hey, book me a call, with Matt. And you've been communicating actually with them to do this podcast.
Interesting. Well, that's very cool. Well, thank you for that. And I'll ask you if did you go through an agency or was it just something you did yourself?
Yeah, no, initially we did. And then once you get 1 or 2, they know other people that know other people. And so,
excellent. Oh, very cool. Yeah. So you run this organization, you play with your grandkids, you're very passionate about helping people, obviously. There's these 150 businessmen meeting weekly all over the country. I'm assuming, or no, you said it. You're in other countries.
We're in 5 different countries now.
Okay, and so is it no longer then local to geography? Has it become more? It's
Here's
virtual
the thing that's
now?
cool. Yeah, it's a good question, Matt. I'm glad you went here. When you're in a geographic location, and there's a couple of things that are good about that, but there's a couple of things that are bad about that. So let me give you the
please
good
do.
First.
The
good first. So the good is nothing takes the place of an in-person meeting.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
We break bread together. We can socialize. We can shake hands. We can hug necks. We can see each other. Right. That can also be bad. And let me tell you why. We go to a meeting, and first of all, there's travel time.
Right.
And then we shoot the bull for 20 minutes before we get started. And then we have an hour meeting, and then we shoot the bull for 20 minutes after the meeting. And then there's a half-hour drive time again. So now we've used up 3 hours of the day, not 1 hour.
Right.
Second thing is, hypothetically, let's say I live in Kansas, you and I are friends, and you and I are in a mastermind together, and our wives belong to the local country club, and they play tennis together.
Right.
Okay, now we're in a situation where you come to me and you go, hey, man, I got this financial situation that's not good and I need some help. In the back of your mind, you're like, I wonder if Big A is going to go home and tell Robin. And I wonder if Robin goes to the club tomorrow to play tennis with my wife and she just says, hey, sorry to hear y'all going through this. Your wife didn't know anything about it.
Right.
Now we got a real problem.
Yep.
Okay, when you're virtual, you can go much deeper, much
Right.
faster, because those are not the hurdles. There's no travel time. There's no shooting the BS before and after. It's 1 hour, you're on, you're off. The other thing is when you're virtual, now you have networking all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
So now you got 10 guys in your group. There's 2 in Texas, 2 in Florida, 1 in North Carolina, 1 in Kansas, 1 in Nashville. Geography,
Right.
we've got it covered. Like, cause I know thousands of people, and I bet you do.
Yep.
Okay. Now you just leveraged my audience and I have yours.
Right.
So the benefits are far exceeding to an in-person meeting. Now, let's just say that you want to meet with these guys and you're in a small community. Maybe it's not Kansas. Maybe it's not the place where you live, the city you live in, but let's just say it is hypothetically. You're like, man, I need a lawyer and I need a banker and I need a chiropractor and I need a doctor and I need a small business owner. And you don't know them, or they're not there, or
Right.
Okay, what are you going to do now? Like, you're not going to meet, right? Virtually, we've got these people all over the world that are professionals. So geography no longer is a hindrance. We've got a guy in Australia that gets on the call, and he's tomorrow on my today.
Right.
We're on the same call, and it's like, well, that feels pretty weird. He's like, there's nobody in my community that offers. He's been in 5 years.
Oh, wow.
He's been doing that. And so all I'm saying is it opens up so many other opportunities to be able to meet. Like, you and I haven't, we probably would have never met had we not
That's
done
true.
this virtually.
Oh, totally. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're going to build a relationship,
Right.
and we're going to be able to connect with each other. Right. And so virtually you're doing that with people all over the world. Now you got a community of 150 members, not just in your area with 6 other guys. So you do the math on 150 members, you get to know everybody in the organization. It's a networking fiasco.
Right.
And so now you've got people all over the world, and your net worth is directly proportionate to your network. It just opens up so many other doors. I've recently got a 7-figure investment with 2 guys that I met 3 years ago that I wouldn't have known had I not met them in the mastermind group. And now this thing is making bank for me, and I wouldn't have known them.
And so there's a couple things you've said there I just want clarification on. One, I do, in our deal, we have signed confidentiality waivers, and you break confidentiality, you're out, right? But I still do get I used to go to a lot of personal development stuff when I traveled, and there is that I'm never going to see this person again, so I can kind of tell them whatever's really, really going on because I'm never going to see them again, right? So it's just my chance to say it. So there is some stuff there. But we have a pretty strict in just in our organization as a whole, we have a pretty strict not doing business with each other in that group, because then it clouds it clouds things, makes things challenging. Do you have that, or are you talking about you did, they were in your group?
There's people that do business with each other outside of their groups. There's a few guys that have done real estate investments. We had 2 guys a year ago, didn't know each other. They just made a $3 million investment together to buy a piece of real estate. We got another guy in a group that wanted to buy a building, and the other guy said, hey, I need to buy a building. So they went in partners and bought the building, and they'll do things at arm's length.
Got it.
Yeah. A lot of the business, the actual daily activities of running businesses are
they
pretty
don't do
minimal.
together. Right.
No, but we had 2 guys that joined 3 years ago that owned 3 properties when they joined their mastermind groups. Their brothers, their mastermind group taught them how to scale their business. They're about to buy their 400th piece of real estate. And the people in Iron Sharpens Iron is funding now this endeavor. And so they're buying $1,500,000 a month in property.
Right.
And so they wouldn't have been able to do that had they not been networking and had they not learned how to scale their business.
Interesting. Yeah.
They live in a small community, and they didn't have the people around them.
The resources.
This is not for everybody.
Right. Yep.
I don't want to lead people to believe that I think what we do is for everybody. It's not. It is for the person that's not faint at heart. Like, if you carry your feelings around on your shoulder, you don't want to get called out. If you're timid, or if you're so introverted, you're not going to call and reach. Like, we're not for you. If you're a guy like, I like to hang out, like, we're not for you either. I mean, we're about moving the needle. Because Like, we only get one go through. This is not a
Mhm.
trial run, right? This is our life right now. We're living our life right now. We're about people that really want to get in and move the needle in every area of your life. And here's the reason that we do it in every area of your life. I was so focused on making money when I was
Mhm.
young that I
Mhm.
almost lost my family.
Mm.
I came home and Robin was like, this is good. Like, we got a beautiful place and we had a vacation home. We got all the stuff. But
Mhm.
she's like, I really feel alone.
Mm.
And I was like, man, this is a wake up call for me. Like, I better pay attention to this. And so I can teach you to make money,
Mhm.
but if you are lacking in relationships, or there's no spiritual inclination at all, or if you're only singularly focused, it's like a three-legged stool and one leg gone, right? Something's going to give. There's something going to pay the cost. You're going
Mm.
to lose somewhere if you're not paying attention to every area of your life. And here's the thing too, Matt, I don't want to get all sappy here, but the truth is that one day people that are really aspiring just financially are going to wake up and they're going to go, it didn't scratch the itch like I thought it was going to.
Right. Yep.
That's the truth. Like,
Yep.
I'm not
Yep.
the guy that's got plenty of money and his money doesn't mean anything. That's a lie. Money is very important. Like, we need it, right?
Mhm.
To live the life that we want. But
Mhm.
when that is your sole focus and the relationship cost to acquire more tangible possessions, when you get that, it is not going to scratch that itch like you think. I've got a guy right now that I coach on a regular basis. He has 8 houses. He has a
Mhm.
yacht. He makes more money than he knows what to do with. It's ridiculous. And he sat in one of his houses overlooking the city with me on the couch at midnight one night, tears running down his face, 48 years old. He said, there's not a day that doesn't go by I don't think about killing myself.
Mm.
And I'm like, what? He goes, like, I got money to burn. I got generational money.
Mm.
I'm lonely.
Mm.
And see, he hasn't invested in the relationships. And I just want to urge the listeners today to be mindful. Go for it. I love to make money, but I've got a
Mhm.
reason I want to make money. We had a guy join our mastermind the other day, wealth advisor, $250 million at his discretion that he invests for his clients. And he said, I want to get to 500 million. I
Mhm.
said, cool. I said, why? He said, what do you mean why? I said, why do you want to get to 500 million? He said, well, it seems like an aspirational goal. I said, okay, but why? What are you
Right.
going to do with the money differently at 500 million that you can't do at 250 million? He goes, well, I make plenty of money now. I said, then why do you want to do that? The relational cost that it's going to get you there because of the time you're going to have to invest. Are you willing to give that relationship cost up?
Mhm.
He said, I never thought of it. And I said, well, what are you going to do with the money? Well, I don't know. So you're just going to make a bunch of money because it's aspirational, because you think that's a good goal. See, that's what we
Right.
do here. We think through the answers to those questions.
Mhm.
And he goes, I never thought about that. And
Mm.
see, that's what we need to do, because when we go out there and go for it big, something's going to give.
Mhm.
You got to be willing to give something, right? So we
Right.
build boundaries, and we have accountability partners, and we have people that can help us create the life that we want. Here's the thing too, Matt. I wrote a document called What Do I Want?
Mhm.
And I ask people very simple questions all the time. If tomorrow morning you got up, geography wasn't a hindrance, financial wasn't a hindrance, what would you do with your life? And most people don't know. They go,
Mm.
man, I never thought of it like that.
Mhm.
So we've got to decide first and foremost what it is that we want, why it is that we're chasing, what it is that's motivating us, what is driving us.
Mhm.
Is it a daddy wound? Is it
Right.
something that's really right?
Right. Yep.
A lot of that, we're trying to prove something to our dad that's not even here anymore.
Mhm.
And then we're trying to get the affirmations from our father that says, hey, good job. You know why?
Mhm.
Because that makes us feel adequate. And when we feel inadequate, it delivers shame.
Mm. Mm.
So we're pursuing something that's elusive. So that's what we do in these mastermind groups. We're trying to live life in its entirety so that we don't get to the end and go, man, a ladder was leaning on the wrong wall.
Mm. Mhm.
I amassed all these tangible possessions at
Right.
the expense of many relationships, including our children. And then we
Mhm.
get to the end and we go, hey, there's no legacy. There's a
Mm.
legacy. It's just not the legacy you would want, because we're all creating a legacy.
Right.
And so we help people identify those things.
Wow. Love it. Love it. Well, I Googled it. I'll let other people Google it. It's View from the Top. You're Aaron Walker. You're the founder, obviously the visionary, and also extremely passionate about not only doing good for, yourself, but especially doing good for your family and the greater world in service of a loving God, right? That's what I'm hearing. That's not what you said, but I'm paraphrasing there.
Yeah, I think you've made an honest assessment that's accurate.
Good. Well, and then the website's viewfromthetop.com. But if this sounds like something that resonates with you, then certainly, go check it out. Do you, is it an ongoing kind of, you can apply type thing, or I guess
anytime. Yeah. There's an application online, and you're not making a commitment by filling out the application, but it does put you in front of me for an hour, and we can have a conversation, just assess where you're at. There's no high pressure. I don't want you in if you don't need to be in, right? I want you to do what you need to do. And so we just assess where you're at to see if you're a good fit. And if you are, then we can talk further about that. But yeah, just go to viewfromthetop.com, fill out the application. Let's have an honest, Q&A to see if it's something that would be beneficial to you.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on. If you don't mind sticking around for just a second, I have a couple of questions for you. But I'll just sign. I'll sign off for our guests. I'm going to ask a couple more questions,
all right,
buddy. But thank you for showing up for the show.
You bet. We'll see you, man.
Thank you for being a part of the BriteVibe podcast. For more information, go to britevibe.com. That's BRITE Vibe, VIBE.com. Thank you for listening.